Hi everyone and welcome to this tutorial on 3D printing. My name is Rahul Pai and I am from the Tinkerers Lab IIT Gandhinagar. For this video, we'll understand how to use an Ender 3D printer. This video is recorded at the Tinkerers Lab IIT Gandhinagar. The basic concept used in 3D printing, known as additive manufacturing, has been around since the 1980s. But it wasn't until the early 2000s that it became accessible and affordable to most of the home users. Today, 3D printer is used in multidisciplinary areas. In fact, the possibilities of the 3D printer is limitless. At a high level, 3D printing involves building objects layer by layer. One of the most popular types of 3D printing is fused deposition modeling, FDM, which works by melting plastic filament and extruding it through a nozzle to create the object layer by layer. Another popular technology is Stereolithography, SLA, which uses a laser to cure resin into the desired shape. There's also Selective Laser Sintering, SLS, which uses a laser to fuse powdered material into solid objects. The choice of 3D printing depends upon various factors such as the desired resolution, speed, and the material compatibility. The first component is the frame, which supports the printer and provides stability. Next is the bed, which is where the object is printed. The nozzle is responsible for extruding the melted material onto the bed, while the extruder feeds the filament into the nozzle. Finally, the electronics control various components of the 3D printer, including the motor and the heating element. All these components come together to provide you the 3D printed object. There are many different types of materials used in 3D printing, including plastics, metals, and even food. Some of the most common materials used in FDM are PLA, ABS, and PETG. PLA is a biodegradable plastic under commercial composting conditions and will break down within 12 weeks. That's easy to print with, while ABS is a stronger plastic that's great for printing functional parts. PETG is a strong, flexible material that's resistant to heat and chemicals. When it comes to printing with these materials, it's important to choose the right bed and nozzle temperature. For example, the PLA prints at around 210 to 220 degrees Celsius with a bed temperature of 60 to 70 degrees Celsius, while the ABS prints at around 230 to 240 degrees Celsius with a bed temperature of 90 to 100 degrees Celsius. So, there are a few problems that one might come across while using a 3D printer. The filament not sticking to the bed might be a major annoyance. This might be due to the low bed temperature, the worn out bed, or bed leveling. Sometimes, even due to the atmospheric conditions, materials don't stick to the bed. You may fix the situation using a fevistick. You might also come across a lack of extrusion. It could be that the nozzle starts off too close to the printing bed. Should the first layer or two fail to extrude, but the filament begins extruding on the third or fourth layer, you can accurately assume that the nozzle height is the main culprit. It is advisable to have a bed leveled. A clogged extruder might prevent extrusion as well. This issue arises due to the moisture contained in the filament. Also check the filament compatibility with the nozzle material. For this, you have to clean the nozzle with a cleaning needle by heating the nozzle. Sometimes, you don't want strands of filament cluttering up your precious prints. You can probably combat this by tweaking what's known as the retraction distance. The thermal runaway is another problem you may come across. The solution to this is to first check the ambient temperature, keeping your 3D printer away from the cooling sources such as the air conditioners. Also, check the connection to your power cord as well as the thermistor. If that's all connected, take a look at the fan to make sure it's not damaged and review all other components as well. If you face any problems other than what I mentioned, it is important that you contact a senior lab staff to solve the issues. And that's it for this tutorial on 3D printing. We have covered basics of manufacturing process, the parts of a 3D printer, the materials used, the slicing software, and finally how to create a 3D model. With this knowledge, you can start experimenting on 3D printing and create your own unique models. Happy tinkering!